It's as if I'm inside out. The journalists at the door, their faces are unreadable. They have cool exteriors. I admire their poise, their unmuddied positions, absolved in their detachment. It's all backwards for me. Because despite the verdict, I still don't know who is guilty and who is innocent. And yet here I am, hugging the grandmother in the defendant's corner. And that's a problem, don't you think? Part 1. The Footy Show. Chapter 1. Much like the federal election of 2010, the Australian Rules Football Grand Final that year was a draw. It was an unfathomable concept for players and spectators. How do you party when there are no winners and no losers? Then, to the delight of pubs, merchandise sellers and sausage makers, the Australian Football League announced a rematch between Collingwood and St Kilda. The Pies beat the Saints, and the city of Melbourne was still cloaked in black and white crepe paper when the rumour of a pack rape by celebrating footballers began to surface. By morning, the head of the Victorian Sexual Crimes Squad confirmed to journalists that they were preparing to question 2 Collingwood players, the young recruits Dane Beams and John McCarthy. And so, as police were confiscating bedsheets from a townhouse in Dorcas Street, South Melbourne, the trial by media began. Yet another alleged girl making alleged allegations after she awoke with an alleged hangover and, I take it, an alleged guilty conscience, the retired footballer Peter Spinder Everett announced on Twitter, and followed it up with, "Girls, when will you learn? At 3 a.m. when you were blind drunk and you decide to go home with a guy, it's not for a cup of Milo." The morning TV host Kerry-Anne Kennelly picked up the thread, sympathising with players, saying that they put themselves in harm's way by picking up strays. When Justin Dyer first had an inkling that the weekend he'd had was going to be turned upside down, and it had been a good one too, grand final day, his mates had won, he'd picked up that night, gone one up in the rooting competition he was having with his mates, he was driving to work in his ute, carpentry tools in the tray. Beam's housemate called him on his mobile and said, "That girl, she's gone to the cops, said she's been raped." The rest of the drive was surreal, said Justin. Then he got another call, this time from Beams, who said the cops were going to call him and not to say anything. To call Dale Curtis, Collingwood's Director of Legal Counsel, instead. From there, Justin was put in touch with David Galbally, QC, the club's lawyer. I went to Galbally and wrote up my statement to take to the police. He said, "You're a witness, not a suspect." But when he arrived at the station, police told him he was a suspect. I felt sick. I kept wondering if this was really happening. Her original complaint was about Collingwood, and then I came along. When Justin was charged with 6 counts of rape, 1 of attempted rape and 1 of indecent assault, Galbally told the Melbourne Magistrates Court that his client would contest the charges. At this, a few astute observers on AFL forums pricked up their ears. "Why is David Galbally QC the defendant's lawyer?" asked one commentator. Apart from being friends with Dane Beams, they had played together back in Queensland, Justin had nothing to do with Collingwood Football Club. The club he was playing for in the State League, the Coburg Tigers, was affiliated with Richmond, and rather than offer support, Coburg decided to drop him. The board called him to a meeting and said, "You're never going to get another game here." Justin was a small fish in big trouble. He knew no one. He was 22 years old, had recently broken up with his girlfriend of 4 years, and was living out of home for the first time. He and a mate had driven to Melbourne 10 months earlier, to the home of Aussie Rules, where the 2 midfielders could play footy closer to the roving eyes of talent scouts. So, when the shit hit, he was grateful to find himself tucked under the arm of Galbally, despite not really knowing why. But with Beams and McCarthy not yet in the clear, the reason for the QC's presence seemed pretty obvious to an outsider like me. It made sense to control the narrative. Dyer was a nobody, but what had happened that night, and how it revealed itself, could affect real footballers, not to mention the richest footy club in town. Other things about the case interested me too. There was the girl, Sarah Wesley. Over a decade ago, in the front bar of a pub in North Fitzroy, I listened to the pub trivia going on in the back room.